Hello, everybody. If you want to read all the story's content in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you. Short Story 692, The Neighbour's Secret. Intermediate. Tom lived in a quiet street in London. He was an ordinary man with a boring job at a bank. Every day he took the bus to work, came home, and watched TV. But one evening, everything changed. Tom was eating his dinner when he heard strange noises from next door. His neighbour, Mr. Jenkins, was an old man who always wore a long coat and carried a black bag. Tom peeked out his window and saw Mr. Jenkins digging in his garden at night. That's odd, Tom thought. Why dig at midnight? The next day, Tom decided to watch Mr. Jenkins more closely. He pretended to water his plants while spying over the fence. Mr. Jenkins was talking on his phone in a low voice. Tom heard words like operation and target. Tom's heart raced. Is he a spy? He wondered. He had read too many thriller books. That night, Tom couldn't sleep. He imagined Mr. Jenkins as a secret agent, hiding weapons in his house. I must find out, Tom said to himself. He put on dark clothes and sneaked into Mr. Jenkins's garden, but he tripped over a flower pot. Crash! The pot broke loudly. Mr. Jenkins' light turned on. Tom hid behind a bush, his heart pounding. Who's there? Mr. Jenkins called out. Tom held his breath. After a minute, the light went off. Tom sighed with relief, but then he felt something wet on his leg. It was Mr. Jenkins's cat rubbing against him. Shoo! Tom whispered, but the cat meowed loudly. Tom ran back to his house, laughing nervously. That was close, he thought, but now he was sure something was wrong. The next morning he saw Mr. Jenkins leave with his black bag. Tom followed him on his bicycle, trying to look casual. Mr. Jenkins went to a cafe and met a woman. They whispered and exchanged papers. A secret meeting, Tom gasped. Tom decided to break into Mr. Jenkins's house. He waited until evening and climbed over the fence. He found an open window and squeezed inside. The house was dark and full of old furniture. Tom searched the living room. In a drawer he found a map with red marks. This is a plan for something big, he thought. Suddenly he heard the front door open. Mr. Jenkins was back. Tom hid in a closet, but it was full of coats. One coat fell on him. He sneezed. Achoo! Mr. Jenkins stopped. Is someone here? He said. Tom's mind raced. He burst out of the closet. Mr. Jenkins, I know your secret. You're a spy. Mr. Jenkins stared at him, then laughed. A spy? Oh, dear boy, no. Come, let me show you. He led Tom to the garden shed. Inside were not weapons, but shiny shoes and a suit. I'm practicing for a dance competition, Mr. Jenkins explained. The operation is my dance routine. The map is for steps, and the woman at the cafe is my dance teacher. Tom's face turned red. I feel so silly, he said. Mr. Jenkins smiled. Don't worry. Want to learn some moves? From that day, Tom and Mr. Jenkins became friends. Tom even joined the dance class. No more spying, just fun steps and laughter. Vocabulary notes. Peeked. Verb. Past tense of peek. Definition. To look quickly or secretly at something, often while trying not to be noticed, usually through a small opening like a window or a door. Example. Tom peeked out his window and saw Mr. Jenkins digging in his garden at night. Here, Tom is secretly looking outside to observe his neighbour without being seen. Similar words. Glanced. To look at something quickly, e.g., she glanced at the clock to check the time. Peered. to look closely or with difficulty, often squinting, e.g., he peered through the fog to see the road. Spied, to watch someone secretly, e.g., the detective spied on the suspect from afar. Spying, verb, gerund form of spy. Definition: the act of secretly watching or observing someone to gather information, often with suspicion or curiosity. Example: he pretended to water his plants while spying over the fence. Tom is secretly watching Mr. Jenkins to learn more about his strange behavior. Similar words: observing, to watch something carefully, e.g., the scientist was observing the experiment closely. Eavesdropping, to secretly listen to a conversation, e.g., she was eavesdropping on her friend's chat. Snooping, to look around secretly in someone's things, e.g., the child was snooping in his parents' drawer. Sneaking, verb, past tense of sneak. Definition: to move quietly and secretly to avoid being noticed, often in a place where you shouldn't be. Example: he put on dark clothes and sneaked into Mr. Jenkins's garden. Tom is moving quietly into the neighbour's garden at night to investigate. Similar words: crept, to move slowly and quietly, often on hands and knees, e.g., the cat crept towards the mouse. Slipped, to move quietly and smoothly without attracting attention, e.g., she slipped out of the room during the meeting. Tiptoed, to walk quietly on the toes to avoid making noise, e.g., he tiptoed past the sleeping baby. Tripped, verb, past tense of trip. Definition: to catch your foot on something and lose balance, often causing you to fall or stumble accidentally. Example: but he tripped over a flower pot. Crash! The pot broke loudly. Tom accidentally hits his foot on the pot while sneaking, making noise. Similar words: stumbled, to trip or lose balance while walking, e.g., she stumbled over the uneven path. Fell, to drop down suddenly due to losing balance, e.g., he fell off the ladder. Toppled, to fall over unsteadily, e.g., the vase toppled from the shelf during the earthquake. Pounding, verb, gerund form of pound. Definition: to beat strongly and quickly, often describing a heart beating hard due to fear, excitement, or exercise. Example: Tom hid behind a bush, his heart pounding. Tom's heart is beating fast because he is scared of being caught. Similar words: thumping, to beat heavily and loudly, e.g., her heart was thumping after running up the stairs. Racing, to move or beat very quickly, e.g., his mind was racing with ideas. Beating, to strike or pulse repeatedly, e.g., the drums were beating loudly in the parade. Story written by Grok 4 AI. Image created by Grok 4 AI. To read all the stories and content in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you. CC Music, drifting at 432 Hz, Unicorn Heads.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're jumping straight into a really interesting short story. It's almost a perfect little study in how quickly we can build suspicion, maybe get things wrong.
Right. And it's all about, how assumptions can escalate fast. We're aiming for those quick, sharp insights for you.
Exactly. So our mission here is to dissect a misconception. How simple facts can get twisted into, well, high drama pretty quickly. Okay, so the story features this guy, Tom. Pretty average. The source says he has a, quote, boring job at a bank. lives on a quiet street in London, very routine.
Until it isn't.
Right. Things change when he notices his neighbor, Mr. Jenkins. He's this older guy, always in a long coat apparently. And Tom sees him doing something odd.
Digging in his garden late at night.
Yeah, exactly. Which is strange enough. But what's really key here, I think, is Tom's reaction. It's not just curiosity. It's like instant suspicion, like something out of a movie.
That's a great point. The source material actually hints at this with its word choice.
Yeah.
It mentions how Tom reacted. He didn't just peer over the fence, like looking closely because it's dark or far away.
Okay.
No, the text says he peeked, which implies looking secretly, furtively. So in his mind, he's already onto something clandestine.
Ah, I see. So that subtle difference, peering versus peeking it, sets up his whole mindset from the start. He thinks it's a secret.
Precisely. And it just snowballs from there.
Right.
The next day, he's out pretending to water his plants, but really he's spying over the fence, as the source puts it.
Spying. And then he overhears bits of a phone call, just fragments.
Key fragments, though. Words like operation and target.
And for Tom, that's basically confirmation, isn't it?
Totally. Because, and this is crucial, the story tells us he's been reading too many thriller books. So he hears these, frankly, quite generic words.
Operation, target. Could mean anything, really.
Exactly. Could be about gardening, could be about business. But Tom filters them through this spy novel lens he's developed. He's not really observing anymore. He's collecting evidence for this narrative he's already built in his head.
Right. The confirmation bias is strong. And that narrative pushes him to act, which leads to the, let's call it the investigation.
Which is kind of hilarious, but also disastrous. He gets dressed up in dark clothes, ready to sneak into Mr. Jenkins' garden.
The source is specific again, right? Moving quietly to avoid being seen.
Yes, but his execution isn't quite James Bond. He immediately tripped over a flower pot.
Oh no, not just a little stumble.
Oh, tripped? The source emphasizes he lost his balance completely, makes a loud crash.
You'd think that would snap him out of it, the absurdity of it.
You would. But no. His conviction is so strong, his reaction is pure panic, heart pounding. For him, the danger feels real, which just reinforces his spy theory. He nearly got caught.
Incredible. So he doubles down. He starts following Mr. Jenkins, sees him at a cafe meeting a woman.
And they whispered and exchanged papers. To Tom, this is obviously a secret meeting, a dead drop. Classic spy stuff.
It's all fitting his narrative perfectly. So perfectly, in fact, that he decides the next step is breaking into the house.
Yeah. He gets inside, finds a map with red marks. This must be it. The big plan.
A plan for something big, he thinks. He hides in a closet, probably feeling very clever.
Until
He sneezes. You couldn't make it up. So he bursts out of the closet.
and confronts Mr. Jenkins directly, declares, "You're a spy."
The big reveal. But not the one Tom expected.
Not at all, because Mr. Jenkins just laughs.
Yeah.
He doesn't pull a weapon. He doesn't deny it angrily. He finds it funny.
So what was really going on? The digging, the map?
He takes Tom out to the garden shed. And inside, no spy gear, just shiny patent leather shoes and a very smart suit.
Shoes.
Ballroom dancing shoes. The operation was his competitive dance routine. The target was winning a trophy. The map with red marks.
So let me guess. Dance steps.
Bingo. A diagram of his choreography. And the woman in the cafe. His dance teacher going over notes.
Oh, wow. That is quite the twist. It really shows how easy it is to build this whole story based on, well, nothing solid.
Absolutely. Tom wasn't wrong about the basic facts Jenkins was digging. He did say those words. The error was purely in the interpretation, fueled by those thriller novels.
It's a great illustration of jumping to conclusions. So how does it end for Tom and Mr. Jenkins?
It actually ends quite nicely. Tom's incredibly embarrassed, of course.
Yeah, I should think so.
But that embarrassment turns into a sort of awkward friendship. The source says, no more spying, just fun steps and laughter. Tom actually joins the dance class.
That's brilliant. From suspicion to sequence.
Pretty much.
Okay, so we started this talking about how suspicion led Tom to take action to, break into a house based on flimsy evidence. And that leaves us with something to think about, doesn't it, for you listening? Tom held on to his spy story even when faced with The reality of tripping over a flower pot. It makes you wonder, what level of evidence do we actually need to shift from just suspecting something to being truly certain?
Yeah, and maybe more importantly, how often do the stories we consume, the books we read, the shows we watch, shape how we interpret the simple, everyday actions of the people around us, our neighbors, our colleagues?
A really provocative thought to end on, something to definitely mull over.